What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be spotlighting Entei for the regulationG format. So as we get closer to the World Championships and as people are starting to begin their prep, some are looking for niche options that are going to make all the difference in what separates their team from someone else's team. And one of those options is actually Entei, and Entei has been rising in recent weeks. Because people have started to realize the toolkit that it can provide and the potential that it has on a lot of certain teams, especially with other certain restricteds. So if you just consider, other fire types that want to be played out, but people are really using, we already know what people are going to be bringing with Incineroar, and then even the Chiyu. And as of this moment, these are the two most common fire types, right? And they're two very different Pokemon. One is obviously more of a defensive backbone Pokemon in Incineroar. And then the other one, the Chiyu, is more of an offensive threat. And then you have some other options like Ogerpon Heartflame. And then at the same time, the other niche option in Volcarona, which will give you a decent matchup into stuff like Koraidon and something like Zamazenta, right? With the bug typing and all. So, they all have their role. But as far as like Entei, what exactly can Entei give you? Gives you a strong physical attacker that has a chance to burn with Sacred Fire. Obviously, great against a lot of the grass types running around like Rillaboom or Amoonguss. Also pretty good at burning other physical attackers. Like if you can position this around an Urshifu, for example, or even a Calyrex Ice Rider, those things don't want to get burned. So you have that option for you. And then at the same time, the real value actually comes from not just extreme speed, but the fact that you can Tera Normal and also go for that extreme speed idea. Because now what you can do that these other fire types don't really have in terms of their arsenal is with the Tera type Normal, now you're immune to the Calyrex Shadow Rider Astral Barrage. And now you have a priority move to click into other non-ghost type things. So that's pretty good. And that's what kind of separates Entei from these other options. Yes, you have defensive ideas with Incineroar, with stuff like Will-O-Wisp, you have Intimidate cycling, and then you have the idea for Taunt. Okay, Entei can do Will-O-Wisp too, by the way, but this you'll find this more on like a Citrus Berry set, so you can even consider that. But my favorite type of set is, you're going to see it in a second, but it's going to be the Assault Vest, because you have some good value in just having, the Assault Vest bulk. And then if you can get Sacred Fire burns, now you're just mitigating physical damage altogether. And then all of a sudden the Entei becomes pretty difficult to remove after you've considered all of that, right? And then, the Chiyu obviously is like the more offensive option, with Beads of Ruin, going for stuff like Heat Wave, and then you're a dark type like Instant. So you have, the idea for Snarl and Dark Pulse into the Shadow Rider, of course. Then you have, like we said, Volcarona, that can go for Struggle Bug stuff. That you can neuter special attackers and then just wall them out with stuff like Quiver Dance. And then you also have Will-O-Wisp, just like the other fire types in general. And then you have options like Rage Powder or even Tailwind for that matter. Just good support moves from Volcarona all in all. And then of course Ogerpon, just another hard-hitting physical fire type that also has access to grass moves, so you have that going for you. But anyway, this is an Entei video, but I at least wanted to show you the differences with some of the fire types and then where Entei stands amongst those other four, right? Then you have stuff like Stomping Tantrum, and this is going to be good against other fire types, so now you have something to hit stuff like Incineroar, Chiyus, or even Miraidon for that matter, right? Ground type coverage is always good on Entei just because you can hit those other fire types and they can't hit you back for super effective damage. So you'll end up winning that one-on-one scenario if it comes down to it. And then at the same time, you also get access to Snarl. So now, in addition to, damage mitigation with the Assault Vest, then you also add to the fact that you can have Snarl. So now you're not really taking that much damage on the special end. And this is also great into the Calyrex Shadow Rider. So this is playing the Chiyu role. At the same time, maybe even the Ogerpon in itself, because you have the, physical offensive pressure. And then at the same time, you have good coverage moves with extreme speed, along with the Tera Normal option, and then Stomping Tantrum for stuff like Miraidon and other fire types. So this is like my favorite kind of set. And then in terms of an EV spread, here's what you can do. In terms of an attack, you can go for Adamant 196. This will hit the EV bump there. This will hit the third bump. And again, if you're trying to get better at competitive Pokemon, You gotta know what EV bumps are, so feel free to comment in the video what are EV bumps, and I will respond to you and I will define it for you, because this is the secret in terms of creating optimal EV spreads, at least in the beginning when you're first building a squad. Then from here, I just want to go to about 130 speed. 128 is a good benchmark as well, just so that after a ±1, you can outspeed the base 135s, like a Miraidon, for example, or a Chien-Pao that are adamant or modest nature. So I just want to outspeed that by just going up to 130. Then, often you'll have Enteis on Rillaboom teams. So, I just want to go to 208 in terms of that benchmark. So this way you have optimal grassy terrain recovery. Again, a factor of 16. And then from there, this ends up becoming leftovers. But I do want to have this much in terms of my special defense for a couple of reasons. One, it'll give me a nice even number for my assault vest, which is great. And then coupled with this 140 HP, you can have some good damage calcs against stuff like Miraidon and even against Calyrex Shadow Rider. So yeah, let me just show you those calcs for a second there, so then you understand where I'm coming from. But also here, I also wanted to show you Blood Moon first. But again, Blood Moon, Earth Power, Life Orb, and all, just does not KO this Entei from this investment along with the Assault Vest. Then I will show you the Miraidon stuff, because they just want to go for, Electro Drift damage. So let me show you Timid first, then I'll show you Modest. So in terrain, Electro Drift, again, 98%. So you have a very favorable roll there. Actually, you just live it all together, 2% health left. And then from here, if you were to go against the Calyrex Shadow Rider, let me just show you the Focus Sash set. So Timid 252, but you can see Astral Barrage not doing a whole lot of damage here. Again, 3 hit KO is what we want. Even if this thing was like +2, like you're still living Astral Barrage. But again, you also have the option to go for that Tera Normal idea. So in terms of the special side, you're pretty good in terms of living some key damage calcs from some very popular meta threats. But back here to Entei, so what are some common partners that you want to build with Entei? So obviously Chien-Pao is the first thing that comes to mind. So you have double priority mons here, with Sucker Punch, and then at the same time Extreme Speed. But now with Chien-Pao on the field with Sword of Ruin, now Entei is doing a lot more damage thanks to the defense reduction here. And you can always have the option to blow up terrain with Ice Spinner, and then at the same time, if things want to switch out, you can always just call it and just go for a Sacred Fire in that slot. All in all, Koraidon is another Pokemon that can also be partnered with Entei here. Just the fact that you can bring out the sun, and now all of a sudden Sacred Fire does a ton of damage in the sun. So you kind of want that as well. And then sometimes you'll even find all 3 options on the same team, where they all kind of support each other. Chien-Pao making both of these do more options, Koraidon making Entei do more damage. So you have a lot of things going for you in this sense. But just be aware, 2 fairy weaknesses is as far as you want to go here. Entei can give you some resist in that sense because you are a fire type, but just be aware of your fairy weaknesses when you have these 2 on the same team. But these are some options. But then there are also some other restricted that you can pair with Entei just besides Miraidon. And I'm going to show you those teams just to show you how flexible Entei can be, not only in the sets, but in the teams that it can be run and has been run with good success rate. So let's take a look at those squads. So let's start here. So this is Mikkelder's team, and he decided to pair not just Chien-Pao with Entei, but also put it on a Zamazenta kind of squad. So look at this. You have Rillaboom here, you have Chien-Pao, and then here's Entei. So you have 3 Pokemon with priority moves, and then at the same time, Chien-Pao making the Rillaboom and Entei do more damage. And this is a choice banded set Entei. So look at this, banded Entei with Sacred Fire, along with Tera Normal Extreme Speed, banded Extreme Speed with Chien-Pao. So this is almost like the Dragonite idea, where you have banded D-Knight going for, Tera Normal Extreme Speeds. But now you have Entei going for that as well. And then at the same time, you have Sacred Fire and Flare Blitz, so big fire type damages. And Flare Blitz, you might ask, why have Flare Blitz when you already have Sacred Fire? So sometimes Sacred Fire just doesn't pick up the KO quite as much because Flare Blitz does more damage. So, you can always have that option there. And then Giga Impact, again, another very strong, hard-hitting Tera Normal move, coupled with Chien-Pao, just going to do so much damage. So this is a very, very aggressive Entei set here. And then at the same time, look, you have Zamazenta, which again also appreciates the fact that you have a Chien-Pao and the Entei on the same team. And then after that, you know, Flutter Mane, Speed Control with Icy Wind and Thunder Wave. Latios here, another niche pick here. But here's the Rillaboom also giving you Grassy Terrain and Fake Out Pressure. So this is a pretty good, you know, team to use Entei in terms of a Bandit set. Then over here, Yukon here, he has another similar idea. He used this to get, you know, top 100 in ladder to almost top 50 basically. But here's the pace for that squad. Again, similar idea, you know, with Chien-Pao, Zamazenta, Flutter Mane, Rillaboom here. So similar case. Here's a Raging Bolt instead, okay, which is still pretty solid. But again, Icy Wind, Thunder Wave, same kind of set here. But look at this, Citrus Berry, Entei, with not just Sacred Fire Extreme Sweep, but this is a Trailblaze Entei, so you're getting some speed control in that sense too. So you have another niche tech option with Entei, and Trailblaze also gets a little bit of a damage boost with Rillaboom because of the grassy terrain. So you have that going for you. And then at the same time, look, Zamazenta is still here. You know, again, very much appreciative of the Rillaboom and the Chien-Pao Entei concept. So this is a nice core 4 to build around. And then your last two options are more or less, you know, flex slots here. Then over here, another, you know, Limitless Tournament team. This one actually brings out Dragonite here. So here we have Banded D-Knight. And then again, here's Zamazenta, here's Rillaboom, here's Chien-Pao, here's Entei. So there's your core 4. And then, like I said, those last two slots are your flex slots here. We get a Dragon type here with Dragonite here, and then Ogerpon Heartflame. Like we mentioned, those another fire type here, you know, in terms of top usage with Entei here. But look at this. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pokemon here with priority moves. So Trick Room is not a problem in this sense, right? You can always change terrain if they bring out Indeedee. You know, just bring out your Rillaboom, and then you're free to go for your priority moves altogether. So, again, the whole concept here is that Zamazenta is a very nice partner to have with Entei, but there are other restricteds. So let's go here into the North American International Championships. So Luka Trejka here. So like we said, another core that you can use is Entei, Koraidon, Chien-Pao here. And then at the same time, you just have some defensive backbone options like the Amoonguss here. But look at this. This is Life Orb Entei, just like the D-Knight Bandit set here. But Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed are always your two mainstays. And then now you have access to Protect. And then Stomping Tantrum is your tech move choice. Again, Stomping Tantrum with the Life Orb along with Chien-Pao could potentially just pick up Miraidons depending on their investment. So, you know, keep that in mind. And then at the same time, Cornerstone Ogerpon in the Sun is quite good along with Amoonguss. Again, giving you that Trick Room matchup. But again, another good idea, you know, just to have Entei in the Sun do a ton of damage. Makes a lot of sense here. Here's another one, Cody Sharp. Again, same thing, NAIC, you know, day 2 results. Raging Bolt and Flutter Mane here with Chiyu. Again, all sorts of options that benefit from the Sun with Koraidon. But here, instead of Chien-Pao, we have a Blood Moon Ursaluna. So again, normal typing that, you know, with Mind's Eye has the ability to hit the Shadow Rider with. And then you have 2 Tera Normal options here, so you can get immunity in that sense. And here's that Bandit set with Giga Impact that we saw last time here. So this is another good idea from Cody. Then from Connor, again, same thing, NAIC. You know, here's the Flutter Mane, Raging Bolt, Chiyu, again with the Koraidon, but then we put back the Chien-Pao here, you know, very similarly to the other cores of the other NAIC teams. But again, you know, that is a very easy starting place, right? You have Koraidon, Entei, then you have your Photosynthesis Mons like Flutter Mane and Raging Bolt. Then Chien-Pao, if you wish to add it, it can be. And then, you know, the double fire idea with Chiyu is also pretty interesting, right? You know, so in that sense, yeah, it kind of makes sense because, you know, 2 different Pokemon. Here's an Assault Vest Pokemon with Snarl and Flare Blitz. Again, the Snarl set, very good at damage mitigation. Same thing with Chiyu over here. So you have 2 Snarl users at the same time, which is quite nice in my opinion. But again, good job from Connor over here. But then as we head into some of these Asian tournaments, so how about the Taiwan International Championships? The Taiwan Nats, as I like to say. But look at this. 3rd place team here. Another Entei team with Koraidon. So let's look at this squad here. But again, similar case. In fact, I almost want to say this was already done. But here we go. Koraidon, Chien-Pao, Entei. Again, Stomping Tantrum, you know, Choice Band set, Raging Bolt, Flutter Mane. No Chiyu here. Instead, we're throwing in the Cornerstone. So, you know, still very solid team. Again, Koraidon, Entei, couple Photosynthesis Mons. you know, if you want Chien-Pao, great, and then give me a nice defensive backbone here would follow me, you know, with Ogerpon Cornerstone. But again, Cornerstone's pretty good because, you know, you need some options to try and hit other fire types because Stomping Tantrum sometimes is not enough. And if you're locked into Sacred Fire, then you don't even have Stomping Tantrum. So something like a rock type here is pretty good just to hit another fire type. But this is nice. Then over here, how about this from the White League? Okay, another limitless tournament, but this is a hyper offensive format with Whimsicott and Terapagos. Entei also gives you that good solid matchup into something like Zamazenta, right? Because, you know, fighting types is one of Terapagos' worst matchups. So the fact that you can bring out Sacred Fire or Will-O-Wisp and burn something, okay, safety goggles, you know, get around a Mungus is going to be good. And then this is also nice into something like Urshifu Single Strike, where, you know, you can just burn them all together. Speaking of the rest of the team, look at this. This is Life Orb Ursh, and then here's Fluttermane and DD stuff. So Trick Room, Icy Wind, Thunder Wave, double speed control. I've seen this a couple times already, right? Icy Wind, Thunder Wave. But again, Entei can be played on a Tailwind team, so you can also do something like this. Then over here, how about Mr. Pengi? Again, you know, piggybacking off of the Entei Rillaboom core with Chien-Pao. I like that. And then you have screens here. So here's Grimmsnarl giving you screens. So you have Light Screen and Reflect. So that allows you to be a little bit more aggressive with your Entei, because now you don't necessarily need the Assault Vest with Snarl, because Grimmsnarl can give you that roll in itself. Now you can be aggressive here with the Life Orb and then have some good physical pressure with, you know, Rillaboom and the Chien-Pao. And again, Terapagos here. So instead of like Tailwind Terapagos with Whimsicott, how about Prankster Grimmsnarl screens with Terapagos in itself, right? Entei still functions in that kind of idea as well. So you have screens, you have Tailwind, you know, you have weather. You know, again, Entei is very flexible in how you want to play. It just depends on the set you want to use. How about Miraidon here? So how about this one? Again, from Bologna. But, you know, Tornadus, Tailwind stuff with Miraidon here. And then here's the Assault Vest set. You know, Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed, your 2 standard stuff with Tera Normal. Then Snarl for more damage mitigation. How about Stone Edge as a tech move here? Again, you know, a nice solid rock move to be able to hit fire types, but you also have Iron Treads here that can, you know, give you that option too. I wanted to use Iron Treads with Miraidon, so you know, the fact that we can have access to rental like this, you know, we'll see it on the channel soon. But again, you know, Tornadus Entei, you know, Tailwind Sacred Fire is going to be good. Tailwind Snarl against some of the more aggressive special attacking teams, that's going to be good. And then you can clean up in the back, you know, with stuff like Covert Cloak Miraidon, which cannot get snarled, so you have that option there. Then over here, as we go into Hong Kong Nats, look at this. There's an Entei team here. I believe it's down here towards, I think I missed it. Where is it? Oh, right here. Oh, it was the top 3 actually. You know, how about this? Lai Chin Ho. So again, another Miraidon team with Whimsicott here. So again, you've seen Zamazenta, you've seen Terapagos, you've seen Koraidon. Now you're looking at Miraidon that can also utilize Entei's set here. But how about Crunch as your dark move instead of Snarl? All right, and again, Tera Normal, you know, again, having that immunity against the Shadow Rider. But look at this. Everything looks pretty standard here with the Furgraph, the Whimsicott. But then you have some niche options here with Okidogi and Entei here. So, you know, Okidogi looking really good against Incineroar. Entei here just coming in certain matchups. But the fact that you can go for these big burns and these extreme speeds, you know, with Helping Hand at your disposal is also pretty nice here in itself, right? But here's Whimsicott giving you Light Screen and Encore, so that's a set. Okay, how about this one too? If you look here, again, another top 3 results, but this was Japan Nats. Look at this team. This one was the Kyogre idea. Okay, so this is the Snowscape Tornadus team with Kyogre Blizzard. This was a fun team. I saw this on stream. This is actually really hilarious. But again, piggybacking off of that Chien-Pao Rillaboom Entei core, now you add Urshifu here, and now you have this Fire Water Grass core now all of a sudden with the Chien-Pao. Basically, a very strong hyper-offensive team with some tech moves here. But here's that Trailblaze option here with Rillaboom. Again, giving you speed control and has boosted damage, you know, in grassy terrain. And then if you go Terra Grass, so now you have a harder hitting Trailblaze, but, Trailblaze. But the grass typing too just gives you that resistance against water type attacks. So stuff against Urshifu, Rapid Strike, the grass option is also quite good there. And then at the same time, you know, not really worried about the Shadow Rider as much You've got Chien-Pao here that can help you out there, especially with like Throat Chop and Sucker Punch. So you can always pin that slot in itself. But this is another cool team. But again, Kyogre, another, you might say like, isn't it weird to have Entei, you know, in the rain? Not necessarily, because again, just think about this. You know, what are Kyogre's weaknesses? One of them is Rillaboom, right? So you need a fire type against the grass type. So Entei can help you in that sense. And then if you think about Raging Bolt, well, that's why you have access to Stomping Tantrum. And then, you know, you even have the Chien-Pao here as an ice type that can help you against that matchup, right? So, you know, Terra Grass gonna resist the electric moves, and then you have Stomping Tantrum as some super effective damage against the Raging Bolt here. So Entei actually fits in quite well with Kyogre. And this was done, you know, in Sword and Shield as well. If you can think back to Gen 9, or if you did not play back then, oh well. But I'm just reminding you that, yes, Entei was used even then. So it's no surprise to see Entei on a Kyogre Ring team like this. But anyway, those are some of the teams. So you can see multitude of restricteds that you can pair it with, but you can also see some of the familiar cores that you can use Entei with. And you can see why it's so strong and so successful on a lot of these squads. Anyway, that's it. So let me know what you think of Entei right now in regulationG. And if you have used it yourself, what kind of squad have you used Entei on? And don't forget, we also put out a rental where you can use Entei as well. It's our Koraidon Entei rental team. So feel free to check that out in our rental code video. If you missed it, go back a couple of videos and you should be able to have access to that as well. All right. So let me know, are you a believer in Entei? Do you think Entei will be able to top cut the World Championships? Let me know in the video below in the comment section. But without further ado, we'll be back with another in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.